Sex, porn, masturbation, ejaculating. What is it doing to your power as a man? And if there are women watching, what is it doing to the power for the woman? The reason I'm making this video is because one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life for myself that allowed me to heal some deep rooted issues in my life was I went from sustaining without ejaculating in sex for a decent amount of time. When I came across some information that I did not want to accept at first, I turned a blind eye to it for a really long time. But then one day, after a lot of work and things that I was doing to expand my consciousness and heal my life, I finally decided to give it a try, to control my sexual urges, to stop releasing my energy from ejaculation, and I stopped having sex for a while too. And the funny thing is that blows people's minds is that I was married during all this. So my wife and I, we went for a few years without having sex, and I went for a few years without letting my seed out. And you've heard about guys doing this, for a certain amount of time, but it all depends on you as an individual, how you pertain to this. This is a very intuitive process. But the reason I'm making this video is because this information that I'm about to share is not being taught to men. It's not being taught to kids coming into adulthood. And it's not being taught to women either, how to deal with this and their man. So this video is just to kind of throw something out there and see if it sticks to your wall. Because let me tell you what, the first time I heard this stuff, I thought it was a bunch of bogus stuff. Why would I ever want to do that? Why would a guy want to stop having sex with his woman? Why would he want to stop jerking off? Well, the plain and fancy answer is it's hurting you deeply. It's hurting you. It's hurting you more than you could imagine, actually. And you don't even know it because your reality, it is what it is because of the choices that you've made up until this point. So your reality could be a lot cleaner. It could be much more profound. It could be brighter. As a man, you could have a lot more energy. And not to mention, the older we get, the less our battery is going to have the oomph it needs. And when we continue draining our battery, guess what? It's not helping the situation. So here's the facts. And I came across these facts when I started to look into really what it is for a man to retain his semen. I went down the path of the Tantra. I studied the Tantra. I did some of the workshops. I tried some of the practices, and it just really wasn't resonating with me too much. But I knew internally, I knew my soul was guiding me through this process, and I really needed to sustain from sex. I needed to sustain from losing my seed. And I had no idea what I was doing because, like I said, I didn't know what any of this was. I just had this internal desire, this internal knowing of this path that I was about to step in on, right? So I went down the Tantra path, and it helped me. It helped me understand a lot of things. But like anything, the Tantra stuff can have a lot of dogma attached to it, and I am so anti-dogma. All right? I am very anti-dogma. I am so anti-dogma that if there's any box that you want to put me in, I kick and I scream and I flail to get out of it. So I came across this guy. His name's Mantuk Chia. And this dude's the real deal. This guy is from Thailand, and he teaches the way of the Tao. T-A-O, the Tao. The ancient stuff. I mean, this guy knows what's up. And in his books, if you want to read it, I recommend every male on the planet. This should be a book given to men probably coming around the age of 15 years old. In fact, we as men, we should be taught this before we actually even know what ejaculation is. Around the age of 10, men should sit down with us. We should be taught this, that You are going to be able to do this soon, and this is the consequences of this. And this is what happens if you put a penis in a vagina. You have a really good chance of having a child, and the consequences and all this stuff, spiritually, physically, emotionally, eternally, forever, energetically. Back to Mantak Chia. He teaches you that your seminal fluid as a man, and men, please hear me on this. Even if this video changes just one man's relationship with himself, then my work here is done. And women, I encourage you to look into this yourself, because then you could bring this information to your man, okay? Your seminal fluid as a man has within it the greatest life force ever. It has your cerebral spinal fluid. It has special fluids that coat your heart and all your major organs. It has the essence of who you are. It's literally like you have a battery, and it's your juice in the battery. And this juice, for all intents and purposes, cannot be rebooted. It cannot be like refilled. Okay? It's a juice that is like there from birth, and it ain't really going anywhere unless you expel it. So this is sacred fluid. This is your sacred fluid. You have to understand this. We have to step out of the box that we were brought up in to think like life is just this thing that happens to us. Okay? When you start to control your sexual urges and retain your semen, your entire life will change for the better. Okay? So your semen has within it a life force that science can't even understand how actually profound it is. It's creation itself, right? That sperm molds with an egg to create life. So therefore, the power of creation is within your semen. But not only that, every single time you expel your semen, your energy goes down and your body has to recover. For an average man, 30 years to 40 years old, and this is a healthy man. Look at the state. That's not funny. Look at the state of people in the modern world, okay? But a healthy man, 30 to 40 years old, when he ejaculates one time, it takes him 7 to 10 days to fully recover. Otherwise, he's actually hurting himself. He's depleting himself. So if a guy is used to jerking off every day, and he bangs his woman a couple times a night, a couple times a week, you are killing yourself. You literally are killing yourself. We're not told this. And let me tell you what, in my early 20s, I didn't know this. And let me tell you what, I hurt myself. Spiritually and emotionally, deeply. I'm not even getting into the spiritual and the spiritual consequences of sex. I'm going to make a whole other video on that. The emotional consequences of sex. I'm going to make a whole other video on that. Here is the physical complications of sex. Is that men, you wonder why we're 60 years old and we can't get it up. And 60-year-old women are still wanting it. 70-year-old women are still wanting it. A dude's got to take Viagra. A dude starts to get crooked, and we fall apart. You want to know why, men, we fall apart? It's because you've been busting nuts your whole life, taken away from your internal core energy. The essence, your youthfulness, your soul. It's not your soul. Your soul, trust me, when you tap into your soul, it's going to tell you to slow down. Your primal instinct is going to tell you that, yeah, we as men, we spread our seed. But you know what? We're not in that age anymore. We're not in the place where we need to have 20 kids to survive. We're in a different place. We're in a different dimension now. We've come out of that density. We must rise above our primal instincts. What does that mean? Okay. Just because you have a hard-on or a boner does not mean you need to have sex. Just because you feel like you want to have sex does not mean you want to have sex. I mean, it does not mean that you have to have sex. What that means is you have energy swirling around down there. This energy can be brought up into your body, into your mind. And when you learn how to do this, you can actually do it during sex so you can have an orgasm without ejaculating. And some of you may think I'm nuts, but it's possible. It takes a lot of work, especially from a guy like me, because I was like the Pringles can. Once I popped, I couldn't stop. Well, I was 20 years old. You know what I mean? We're in our 20s. We have a ton of sex and we drain ourselves. We don't even know it. But it causes our organs and our body and our life force to wither away. And we are weak spiritually. And this is just lessons from my own life. So if somebody's like, this guy's full of shit, well, hey, if this doesn't resonate with you, you know, like, don't listen. Hit the pause button, unsubscribe, do whatever you got to do. But I'm telling you, this will help a lot of men stop the confusion in their life. To stop this a lot. I mean, I'm a coach. I work with a lot of men that have issues with sex and relationships. And this will help them because I know what it did for me and I know what it's done for some other men. But nobody's talking about this. This isn't advice that's given very much. It's starting to come out. More guys are talking about semen retention. But men don't understand, yes, even if you do just hold in your seed, you have to transform it up here. Otherwise, it's going to do other things, and you don't really want that to happen. So your semen is a sacred like elixir. It's special. It's not meant to be just thrown around. And ladies, if you're listening to this, it's not something you want to drain the guy of. So if you want to be with your man for a really long time, and okay, wives maybe, or significant others, or whoever you are, if you want to be with this guy for a long time and you learn how to do these practices together, you're going to really help each other in life. Like, your life's going to get better. You know, it's kind of funny. When I went through a period of celibacy, I had so many friends of mine, because I didn't really talk about it, but there was a couple friends of mine that I would talk to about it, because when you're going through this stuff, sometimes you're the only one I'm always the only one in my life that's interested in this type of stuff. And then sometimes, you know, I have some close friends, they would never do it, but like, hey, they're my close friends, so they like talk to me. And I can talk to them without judgment, you know? So it's funny, I always got the joke, hey man, if you ain't giving it to your wife, then she's going to find it somewhere else. I can't even tell you how many times I heard that. And you know what? All that this period of celibacy did for my wife and I was completely transform our relationship and bring us closer. More than anyone I've ever met in my life. There's not a single relationship in my life that I think is as close as my wife and I. There might be a few, like one or two relationships that are like ours. And that period of celibacy transcended the desire and the need to have sex, and we became intimately close without being physically intimate. And when that happens, like, something changes. It's a gift. You become like a divine partner. And I call it the divine partner. And one day I want to do a relationship course called the Divine Partner. And then when you introduce sex back in, it's like you can't have sex the way that you were having before. It seems kind of like counterproductive, counterintuitive. You know, I don't want to just like have a quickie before bed. You know, or like just spontaneously, like, yes, everybody loves the spontaneous sex. It gives excitement to life. But when you walk out of the need for that excitement in life, and like you can plan when you're going to have sex, you know, Mantak Chia talks about, you know, planning these sexual experiences in your life, and he teaches you how to retain and do these practices and really work on it in your own life, to where sex becomes this blissful healing experience between the two people. And a man retains his semen, and a woman actually learns to cultivate her own energy. That's a whole other thing, ladies. He wrote a book on the woman's side of it too, and I actually read most of it. It's amazing. A woman learns how to cultivate her own sexual energy. A man learns how to cultivate his own sexual energy, and they both heal internally. You can heal traumas. You can heal past issues, physical, emotional, and spiritual traumas. You can heal if you cultivate sexual energy the right way. It truly has been, like, I have worked with ayahuasca. I have changed the way that I've eaten. I have done a lot of work in my life. And I cannot say, I mean, they've all done, like, my relationship with ayahuasca is absolutely amazing, and I hold it in the highest regard, to the deepest, deepest levels of love in my heart. But I would say the other side of the coin of something so paramount and life-changing for me, besides my relationship with ayahuasca, which ayahuasca truly, like, opened me up and led me into this path anyway, because it helps you become your own medicine. Was this time of celibacy and understanding and retaining my energy. You're going to learn so much about yourself, man. And this isn't about being like, the perception of a man. You know, what is it? There's so many different versions out there, whether you got to be the type of guy that picks a boulder up and smashes it and lifts heavy things and big muscles. And, you know, like, I went down that crazy, like, route, you know, when I was really into my physicality and I was a Marine, you know, and I used to, like, do a lot of hard physical things to myself, and I was just beating myself up. But let me tell you what, you learn what you're really made of when you want to control your sexual energy. You really do. We have been programmed since birth. We have been programmed in the movies, with religion. We haven't learned what sex is. We haven't learned what our semen is. We haven't learned how to have sex to benefit us. We just, like, have sex to have kids, and, like, yeah, there's some pleasure in it, but it fades away, and then we got to do this next crazy thing to get it more crazy I just want to put a disclaimer in there. Yo, guys, I'm still a baby in this, and I'm still, like, on step 2 out of 100. This is just what I'm learning and what I've came to realize. I'm just maybe a half a step ahead of some people, and that's what these videos, I'm revamping my entire channel about this kind of stuff. So, that half a step ahead is still a half a step ahead, and I'm just letting you know, like, if you would want to take that half a step, man, I don't have words to describe to you, male or female, what it will do for you. I don't have enough words. One day I'll have my wife on here and we're going to talk about this. I'm starting a podcast. It's going to be called The Michael Vasquez Show. And we're going to talk a lot about the sex stuff, the sexual energy, the relationship stuff that we've come to absolutely heal our life. Anyway, I didn't want to make this video too long. I'm going to talk a lot more about it. Men, if you want to claim your power, full power beyond the now, into when you're older, you still want to have power when you're older, this is the way to do it. This is a way to do it on top of the other things that you're doing. You want to go to the gym? Awesome. You want to become big and powerful physically? Let me tell you what, you want to maintain that physicality? This is how you do it. It really is a secret, and it's not being told to us. Yeah, check it out, everybody. Much love, and please let me know down in that comment box below if you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, I'm here. I'm going to be starting to make a lot more videos. They're not going to be fancy. They're not going to be, I got into this YouTube channel, and I was trying to do what everybody else was doing with, like, the fancy editing and all that stuff, and I just don't care. I'm just going to use this time to give back everything that I've learned in the past 5 years through my personal evolution. So if you got questions about it or you're curious about something, let me know, and I'll upload it. Peace out. Much love. Taking care of yourself is taking care of the world.